Hey there everybody, I know it's been a while since I've put any videos up and I decided to do one today, and I wanted to talk about something that we've all been seeing in the media and in the news, whether we get our news online or we get it from television or radio or we get it from printed news, and that is the Occupy movement. And I'm not just talking about Occupy Wall Street. It started with Occupy Wall Street, but it's now branched out across the country. There are literally dozens of cities that are now part of the whole Occupy movement, and I wanted to talk about those people. And what I wanted to talk about was how many people are getting the wrong idea about what it is these people collectively represent. I'm not talking about all of the changes that they want, because there are so many people involved in the Occupy movement that it has been very difficult for them to centralize their operations and get a completely coherent ideology of the demands and changes that they want to see come to pass. And I shouldn't use the word demands, because it's not demands as if they are putting their fist down and saying that we demand that this change. It's not in a violent sense. It might be in an aggressive sense that they are issuing a demand. So maybe demand isn't the best word to use, but it is a way of expressing their concerns, and this is a way of expressing the changes they want to make. But as for getting a coherent ideology of what they want those changes to be, it's been hard for them because it's still spread out right now. It's a brand new movement. It's still growing. It's still in its development phase. But I really wasn't going to touch on that. What I was really going to touch upon is about the people themselves. And we seem to be getting the wrong idea about who these people are. These are not, as has been so characterized in a lot of news media, a bunch of degenerate, liberal, 20-something hippies who are just camping out with their hands out, wanting to get something for nothing. That is not who these people are. Are there people involved with the Occupy movement that are lazy and who do want something for nothing and are just trying to ride this movement in the hopes that they can get a little bit of taste of something that they haven't had, if they can get a little freebie out of it? Of course. There are people like that in any movement, no matter what movement we're talking about. Every major movement in the United States throughout its entire history has had people who are using that movement to further their own selfish ends. But those people are in the minority. And what the occupiers represent are really that 99%, and we've all heard that term before, we are the 99%. And these are part of that 99% who are now letting the entire country, and by extension the entire world, know that the 99% wants to see some changes made. They're not just asking for handouts and freebies. These are the people who are standing up and saying that we need to have reform within our political system, within our financial systems, within our educational systems, within our healthcare system. And the reason we need these reforms is because it is so inequitable right now. There is no equity across any of those spectrums. The top 1% and the government corporate combine is consolidating those resources and feeding themselves off of those resources, and they're not sharing those resources with the rest of the country. Now, some people might say, well, they're the ones who work the hardest to get to those resources, but that's not true. Some of these people got those resources because of entitlement, and usually it's been hereditary entitlement. Some of these people got to those resources through less than honest means. There are some of them who did get into those resources because they did work hard and they did pull themselves up and earn their wealth, and did it in a way that was consistent with a way that we could say he did it with integrity, he did it with ethics, he did it in a moral way, he did it the right way. And there are people within the 1% that we can say that about. The problem is that they're in the minority. And when you add in the government corporate combine, forget about it. Equality went out the door. Equity is gone. The 1% and the government corporate combine are not interested in having a population that is well educated, that is healthy, that is actualized. And why? Because in order to do that, they have to surrender some of their resources and they have to surrender some of their control. Actually, not some of it. They have to surrender a lot of it, and they're just not going to have that. And that is what the occupiers are all about. They want there to be a more equitable system in this country. They want there to be a more equitable playing field wherein if you do work hard and you do have a lot of individual merit and you are qualified and you are skilled, then you can earn, then you can get an education, then you can afford health care, then you can actually actualize your potential in whatever field you want. But we can't do that now. The cost of these things has skyrocketed to the point where if you're pretty much not part of that 1%, or at least close to that 1%, you're not going to get any of it, and you're left on the ground floor scrambling around for whatever crumbs are left, telling yourself it's going to get better, it's going to get better, because that's what the upper echelon is telling you. They're pointing down and saying, well, just work harder, you'll get up here. No, you won't. You know why? Because when they went up there, they kicked the fucking ladders out beneath them and said, guess what? Fuck you. We're not letting you up here. Essentially what the 1% and the government corporate combine has done has taken our lives and turned it into a bad trip through a drive-through. And y'all know what I'm talking about there. Essentially, they've got us in this position where we're in this drive-through. And this is the drive-through of our lives. And we're coming through and we're seeing the menu board and we're looking what's there. And as we get closer, we see the things that it looks like we're going to like. We're saying, hey, that looks good to me. Oh, that looks good to me. No, I think I want to try this instead. No, I want to put my time and effort over here. And we get there, we get to the menu board, and we find the things we want, and we tell them what we want. And when we get to that window and we hand over our cash, that's us putting our time, our effort, our labor into trying to get those things we want. And then we get to the next window and they hand us the bag and we roll on out and we turn on down the highway and we're going down the highway and we're driving along, but the bag is right next to us and we know it's there, but we're trying to concentrate on driving, but we're thinking about what's in the bag, we're thinking about driving, thinking about what's in the bag, driving, we're thinking about it, we're saying, you know what, I gotta have a taste right now. So we reach into that bag to get what we wanted, only to find when we pull it out, this isn't the Western bacon cheeseburger with the extra barbecue sauce and the side order of crisp cut fries that I asked for. This is a mess of cat turds and ketchup that's been stuffed between two stale pieces of Wonder Bread and a side order of go fuck yourself. That's what they gave us. Well, I didn't ask for that. Well, I'm just going to turn... Oh, I can't turn around. I can't turn around this highway because there's nowhere to turn around. And you know why there's no place to turn around? Because the same fuckers that built the restaurant built the fucking highway and didn't give you a place to turn around. And you don't find a place to turn around until you get back home, and by the time you get back home, you're like, well, I don't feel like going all the way back. I'll just try and make do with what I've got. So you take that fucking shit burger and you try and find the parts that had the least amount of shit. And as you're taking a bite, you bend over and hope that the one that's going to fist fuck you at least has the courtesy to spit on his fist before he does it. That's what's happened, folks. But now, some people who got out of that drive-thru and are going down that highway said, I don't give a fuck if there's no place to turn around, and they've pulled over to the highway and gone off into the shoulder, gotten out of their cars, grabbed that bag, walked back, put it down and said, I didn't ask for this. I am not asking you for goddamn pheasant under glass or Chateaubriand. I am asking you to give me what I asked for, i.e. what I worked for, what I was aiming for. to achieve the opportunity that I know that I have worked towards. Not for the shit that you think that I deserve because you want to keep all the good shit for yourself. That's what the movement's about, folks, and that's what the people are there to do. As I said before, yes, there's going to be people there that are bad apples. You're going to get that in every movement. But don't buy the media bullshit that focuses in on that particular minority and tries to tell you it's the majority. These are people like you and me, and they're not just a bunch of 20-something college dropouts who don't want to work. They're people like you and me, people who are part of the middle class. It's not just people in their 20s, it's people in their 20s, in their 30s, and their 40s who have had enough of the bullshit that they've been fed for all their lives. These are people of modest means who have figured out that the only reason they have modest means is because they have been unfairly kept out of the game. That there is no level playing field. That the opportunities that could be there aren't there because someone took them away. That's what those people are about. And that's who are the people that are part of the Occupy movement. And that's all I'm asking you to think about. To try and focus on who the people really are and don't buy into the bullshit of people trying to tell you that they're this just crazy fringe element of people who are just lazy and selfish. Don't buy into that. Find out for yourself. Go to an Occupy movement and see what they're like. Try and read unbiased news sources and see what they're like. Don't buy into the hype, folks. Buy into what you know yourself.